I'll just slip in here. It's quiet in here. Anyways. So how's your day going?
Okay, how about you?
Good. Just a lot of stress of the last few assignments.
That's right. Getting to crunch time, isn't it?
Yeah, we have like a 6 to 7 minute doc due at 1. And so like you and Mike Stubbs were like the last 2 interviews I needed. And so just need to. Okay. So I have 3 questions. This board is really long and pain.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna put that there. Okay. So my topic is about student laziness and dropouts. So as a teacher, what is the most frustrating part about seeing students not living up to their full potential?
I mean, that's it. Not living up to their full potential. It's, we're very privileged in North America to have one of the best education systems in the world. It's relatively accessible here in Canada. It's not free like it is in some European countries, but it's also less expensive than it is in the United States. So, within that context, if you've kind of applied yourself in a high school and you've got okay grades, there's a good chance that you can get into post-secondary education. So with it being so, and again, I don't want to say it's easy, but so readily accessible and available to most people here compared to other countries where it's not so readily accessible, it seems wasteful. When you've got the opportunity to take advantage of something that people around the world don't have access to, you do kind of scratch your head and wonder why they wouldn't follow through.
And as a teacher, like from your perspective, what's the hardest part about witnessing a student fail or dropout? Witnessing the student fail or dropout rate increase.
Well, it's just I think that it raises a few important questions about the quality of the delivery. Are we not meeting student needs? Or is it something more societal? Are people not valuing education to the same degree that they used to? And so rather than stick it out, they're pursuing other opportunities. It could be a number of different things. So when I when I see those kind of statistics, it's there could be a lot of different things feeding into that. And that's just a social scientist in me. I'm reluctant to jump to conclusions. There's probably a lot of stuff going on in the data. I know one thing that does happen, and it's sparingly, and it's a minority of cases, but students will sometimes, who maybe they're uncertain about coming to college, and they do, and then they get some OSAP, and then they take off, and then they disappear. That's something that's not widely, it's not present throughout the entire college system, but it is there. There's a small percentage of students that, we've made it too easy for them to kind of take the financial aid and take off with it. So there's probably 4 or 5 different factors that feed into that. So it's cause for concern, but I really don't even know what to sort of aim at as the culprit.
And do you think international students, because they obviously have to pay more costs, do you think they work harder than Canadian students?
It's hard to generalize, but anecdotally, I think there's a bit of a selection effect. The people that are willing to sort of uproot and move to a different country to go to school, you're already motivated. So if you're a lazy student already and you're kind of disengaged, you're not going to do that. So the students that do sort of uproot and move are already the ones that are more motivated and more engaged because of the fact that they did that in the first place. So there is a selection effect. But I think there is evidence of a bit of that happening. There's more at stake. Because of the cost of tuition is higher, that you want to get your money's worth. You don't want to waste any ounce of that experience, and maybe domestic students kind of take for granted the experience they have, and because it's so readily available, maybe they don't recognize the opportunity. It's also labor market and context dependent. There are opportunities for you to get jobs in Canada without necessarily completing college or university credentials. So that is an option that some students, it's available to some students. In some other countries, that's not the case, right? Education is your only way out of poverty or into the labor market. So there's, again, we kind of got to look at the context and really what the economists call it the opportunity cost. What else could you be doing with your time? And so for domestic students, there's a lot of other things that they would and could be doing with their time instead of going to school.
And one last question. Do you think the next generation of students, like the next generation that's about to enter post-secondary, do you think they're going to be more lazy or less lazy than the current generation of students?
again, I mean, the social scientist in me wants to push back against the blanket generalizations, and categorically calling a whole cohort of students lazy. I think I think the classroom is changing, and students are changing, and people are changing, society's changing, and it's impossible to sort of equate, my experience as a student with somebody that starts school in September of this year. Very different environments. And within that, because society's changed so much, you want to look at the context of the classroom. You look at a classroom 100 years ago, 1916 versus one in 2016, they look pretty much the same. Rows of desks facing the front, one person at the front talking. So I think that maybe speaks to the education system as a whole. The education system isn't keeping up with changes in technology, changes in demographics and the student population. So it's not that I would say one group of students is lazier than the other. I think what might be more accurate to say is that the education system is slow to adapt to different contexts and different student populations.
Thank you.
No problem.